Look at how he here. Look at how you match up against the Cowboys. And here, let me give you my synopsis as we get ready for the start of the season here. And I wrote these little notes down here about each team in the NFC East. You ready? Here's my assessment of the Cowboys. You can't win, and this goes to the Philadelphia Eagles too, my friends. You can't win a Super Bowl in the offseason, but you can lose one. And to me, the Cowboys lost it. Hour 2, National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Jalen Reagor and Andre Dillard have made the 53-man roster. It is set, and we are ready for September 11th. There is no question today the addition of adding Saints safety and, if you want to say cornerback, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They get the Saints 7th rounder also in 2025. The Saints get the Eagles 5th round pick in 2023. And the worst of the 2 6th rounders in 2024. Congratulations to you. Howie Roseman should take a bow today. Okay? You should take a bow today on what he's done. I am going to show you the difference in rosters, okay, in the NFC East, and how far the Philadelphia Eagles have come in talent. Now, again, let's put this here. The only thing we're talking about today is paper. We are not talking about performance yet. So they don't sometimes match up. You can look at a roster and go, how did this roster not be successful? How many times have we seen rosters constructed? And I've always said this, the teams that make a lot of moves are sometimes the teams that have more question marks and more issues. And it shows its head sometimes when you get isn't it true the teams that have the least amount of moves are usually in the NFL the teams that have the greatest success? Teams that have a lot of moves, folks. Oh, I question that. Look how many moves Buffalo made. They got Von Miller. Von Miller. Green Bay made no moves except for the draft. They're still going to win 13 ball games. I don't care what anybody says. Why would that change? Oh, Devontae's not there. Okay, yeah. Well, the last 40 years, nobody in Green Bay knows. They couldn't name the last first-round draft choice they drafted in the last 40. Okay? San Francisco, look at what they did. They were so not sure of their quarterback, they brought Garoppolo back. That shows you one difference between the Eagles and the Niners. The Eagles are all in on Jalen, and they let everyone in the locker room know that. Can you imagine walking into the San Francisco 49ers locker room today and seeing Jimmy G's face on the active roster if you're Trey Lance? You've divided the locker room with one move. Signed Nick Foles, Carson Wentz. You got Carson Wentz and Nick Foles in San Francisco right now. Okay? Hey, Philiopolis, Green Bay's got a better defense than you. They'll be top 5. Okay? They'll be top 5. I don't know what you're talking about. No, and they've won 39 ball games in the last 3. We'll see. Okay, to act like Devontae Adams leaving, it's not a big deal. A little bit. It's not like that division's the AFC West, though. You're making it sound like the NFC North is the AFC West. Okay, guy. Right. Minnesota and then no one else. They'll win that division again. Dan, Philip Lindsay and Duke Johnson or trade for Vikings. I like the fact that they could maybe bring in Duke Johnson. I'd like to see Duke maybe play back there as kickoff and punt return. I'd like to have that, okay? Packers have no wide receivers, Big Sales. It's never really mattered. Devontae Adams wasn't a first-rounder. They were never first-rounders up. They've had only 2 first-rounders in 42 years. When you have Favre and you have Aaron Rodgers, you don't really their history. You're not going by what they've done historically. You're just looking at the player not being there and thinking they're going to suck. Rodgers is the 2-time reigning MVP. Okay? Dan, I think the Vikings could take it. I do too, Ryan. I do too. Let me show you something here, though, and let me throw this at you here on the running back position now. I'd say, look, if there's some weakness on the Eagles right now, I would do this. I would say tight end, I'd like to see some more depth, and I would like to see a pass-catching running back in the backfield for Jalen Hurts. That's what I would like to see. Now, all that being said, do you think they have enough with Gainwell and with Boston Scott and with an injured Miles Sanders, who I'm sick of talking about? Miles Sanders, I don't want to hear about talent anymore. I'm sick of that conversation with him. Okay? Miles Sanders has talent. Who cares? Who cares? He's always hurt. He's always hurt. Nell says pass rusher. Nell, I think you're going to get from Sweat, you could have double digits. I think you're going to get a rejuvenated Fletcher Cox. Hassan is going to be a force. I think you've got the horses to get into the top 15 in sacks. I don't want to go crazy yet. Okay? But I think you could get in the top 15. I do. I think you could get into that conversation there. What about drafting the running back out of Texas? I'm not drafting no running back in my top 3 rounds. I'm going to pull a Parcells when it comes to the running back position nowadays. You know, Bill Parcells in his entire coaching career never drafted a running back in the top 3 rounds in any year he was a head coach. Hell, I don't even think he did that when he was the executive for the Dolphins. Parcells never believed it. You know, he believed in the Jamie Morrises, the O.J. Andersons. He believed in guys like that. Dave Meggetts. You know, those kind of players. Later round guys. He never believed in spending high money. I can't remember if Curtis Martin was a product of him when he was with the Jets. I don't remember that. How the Eagles line up against the NFC East. Let me show you how much of a difference you have in rosters here. God, this kid, I cannot believe that he went out, Howie Roseman, and signed this kid, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And for what little assets he had to give up to get him. You made a deal for a bona fide 24-year-old starter. That so doesn't happen. I don't know what happened between Mickey Loomis and the head coach and the rest. I don't know what happened in the building. But how you got that is crazy. Okay? And really, to give up a 5th rounder, okay, that's a big pick. And the worst of the 2-6 in 2024, crazy. Crazy great. Crazy great. Crazy great. Crazy great. Look at how look at how you match up against the Cowboys. And here, let me give you my synopsis as we get ready for the start of the season here. And I wrote these little notes down here about each team in the NFC East. You ready? Here's my assessment of the Cowboys. You can't win, and this goes to the Philadelphia Eagles too, my friends. You can't win a Super Bowl in the offseason, but you can lose one. And to me, the Cowboys lost it and their opportunity to be a Super Bowl contending team in the offseason. You let Gregory go. You still have some talent on the team. You got an aging offensive line. You got a running back who hasn't looked the same in 3 years. 4 years ago, this dude was running the ball at about 100 yards a game. Shit, this guy's about 58 yards a game now. Look at how much production he's lost. Look at that. And they're going to compete for the division. But here, right here, friends, is the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Eagles are going to contend for the NFC Championship. And by the way, who was the first person in Philadelphia to tell you that your team's going to the NFC title game? Me. I said it. And I've been holding to that. Whatever my opinion is of Jalen has never changed my opinion. Has it? We have been saying that for over 3.5 months. The Eagles are going to go to the NFC title game. Here is the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Eagles are contending for the conference crown. The Cowboys are going to be contending for the NFC East. Sean Payton underachieved in New Orleans. Talented roster. All of them fell short. Okay, they was 9-7 in the postseason. Xander, throw that up, my friend. Let's see what we have here. What is this? Is this Jalen? This is the 53-man roster of the Philadelphia Eagles. Boom. Boom. Very good. Very good, man. 53-man roster, your 2022 Philadelphia Eagles, the best roster in the NFC. I don't think you're the Bills because the Bills have Josh Allen, but I think you're right there when it comes to – now, yours is more unproven because of the new additions. We have to, hey, give me this. We have to see it play out. You have to see this play out. You just can't go like this. Well, we got the, it surely looks at when you put the pieces on the chessboard here that all the squares are covered here, right? Hey, Big Sills. Hey, by the way, can somebody give me an update on whether or not J-Jaw made the Seahawks? I'd like to know if he made the Seahawks. Okay? Let me know if he made the Seahawks. Flex, front runner at its finest. Don't know what J-Jaw got cut. So, Howie Roseman made a deal to send J-Jaw to Seattle, and he got draft choices back out of that. And Seattle cut him. Okay? Dude, that's a freaking even though you didn't get the return of investment on a second rounder, you still made something out of nothing. And you turned around and got picks for a guy Seattle ends up cutting. And they turned around and used those same picks to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. How is that for you and your boy Howie Roseman? J-Jaw got you a starting safety. He covered his loss there, my book. He covered the loss. Watch this. Okay. Here's my eraser. You're forgiven on J-Jaw. Think of that. He used the J-Jaw move to Seattle to get this guy as a starter. Remarkable. Remarkable. That's right. Turn dirt into diamonds. Dylan, it's a brilliant move. Brilliant. Could be the move, even smarter of a move. A.J. Brown's not a smart move. Who in their right mind wouldn't want that guy? That is working the dots and crossing T's and doing due diligence and capology and all that other shit. Really good, man. Bob says Big Sills, and he's looking for a backup quarterback. Minshew for Madison. Why? Bob, in case of something catastrophic, I got maybe one of the best substitute teachers on a roster I can't F with. Why would I want to get rid of a quarterback now that I know that could carry the mail for me until Jalen gets back? And Gardner Minshew to go down a step in case something happens, twisted ankle, he misses a week. Why would I want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. Whew. He turned that damn J-Jaw move into a gold. He turned it into gold. Now, Howie, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Your work is done. Your work is done. Now it's up to the people that you've empowered. See, this is the one thing you got to look at with Roseman here. Does he have the patience, or is he a control freak? Doesn't Howie come off like a control freak? What happens with control freaks? They're afraid to let loose. Okay? They're afraid to trust people. Right? Right? You're afraid. Whew. Man, what a move. Howie Smart, he's keeping Dillard and Razor. He's keeping Dillard because Dillard is a commodity. Look how many teams. The Buccaneers would have picked that guy up in 14 seconds, Andre Dillard. The Giants would have picked his ass up in 14 seconds. Okay? They would have picked him up. Dude, so what? Andre Dillard did not make the Eagles starting five. Okay? That's not a bad deal. You're talking about a star-studded offensive line. You're talking about the most talented offensive line. Okay. It's a lot different than being cut in New York with the Giants and you having to go tell your agent, I was cut in New York by the worst O-line in football, them and the Bears. You got two of the greatest security blankets in Gardner Minshew and Andre Dillard in case something goes down because you got versatility. And as I was saying, look at it in the NFC here. I wrote these cliff notes down. The Cowboys lost their chance to be a Super Bowl contender in the offseason. The Eagles increased their chances of being the conference champions. Look at the two directions. Here's the Giants. Here's my Giant notes. Giants. They were bad last year. They'll be better, but it's been a mash unit the entire offseason here for them. They still believe in Daniel Jones. How can you believe in Daniel Jones? I mean, Jesus criminy, really? Flex says 12-5, 13-4 with convincing wins over Dallas. Okay. That's your expectations, Flex. I mean, they still believe. New look O-line. Ton of changes. Giants just, I don't know. They haven't been good in a decade. Washington, possibly a team that can contend, maybe, for a playoff spot. Chase Young's not going to be ready. Who's their edge rusher? Okay. They've got some pieces wide out, not like a ton of them. You line up the Eagles next to all of these teams, these three teams in the NFC East, and you do this. There is no excuses for failure. Failure is not an option. And you know what failure is? Don't talk to me about 10 wins in a playoff appearance, because asses will be fired if that's the case. Okay? Drake signed, JG is on the hot seat. Yeah, that's an understatement. That's an understatement when we're talking about that. By the way, I wrote down my all NFC East team. I love this time of the year because now that the rosters are set. Okay. And by the way, hey, Xander, we'll replay the 53-man roster at the top of the 3 o'clock or the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Okay, we'll do that at the top of the 5 o'clock hour so you guys can get a chance to see the Eagles, all courtesy of the Eagles. So you guys get to see it. We'll do that again. I like that video. Xander, so we'll have that ready at the top of the 5 o'clock hour for you guys. I wrote down the top players, in my opinion, in the NFC East. Let's start with offense. Dak's the best quarterback in the division going into the regular season. You could debate any way you want. You could talk to me till you're blue in the face. Dak's the best. I don't even know if Jalen's ever beaten him. And I don't even think games were close. Dak is the best quarterback in the division. Now, can that change by the end of the year? Yes. Oh, and here, do I think Dak Prescott is trending up? No. Do I think Jalen's trending up? I don't know yet. I'm not going to take other people's words for it. I want to see it. I don't like people overhyping people that are not established. So I want to see it. By the way, it's no negative or nothing positive. It's just Switzerland right now. I have no opinion on Jalen. I want to see Jalen going into this year playing, and I want to see what he's going to do. Okay? Hey, he gets out and he throws for 400 yards against the Lions. We're talking about really a frightening football team if he does that. I got Saquon Barkley as the best running back. I know. I debated on this one here because of injuries. Why would I give him the benefit of the doubt over Miles Sanders? I think he's just a little bit better. Okay. Thoughts on Blankenship making the team at safety? Look, prior to them getting CJ, 85, that position's not real deep and really talented. It's probably the least talented group of anybody on the roster. But now when you're adding a player versatility of Johnson and you're putting him back there, Blankenship is one of the better players, but that's not saying a lot. Howie has gone after a guy in San Francisco, and now he's made a deal to go after and get a guy in New Orleans. That's all really you need to know, that he doesn't really have great faith in that position of safety. So he's keeping the best guys he has. Offensive tackles, Andrew Thomas, New York Giants. Lane Johnson, Philadelphia Eagles. Those are the two best tackles in the NFC East. Zach Martin, Dallas Cowboys, offensive guard. Landon Dickerson, Philadelphia Eagles. And Jason Kelsey's the best center, so think about that. And let me throw this in. Dallas Goedert, I got a tight end. So on my all NFC East team, I've got Dallas Goedert, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, and McLaurin from Washington. That's my offense. Lane Johnson didn't even make the top 100. Well, Lane Johnson is one of the top 3 offensive tackles in the National Football League. So whatever that list means, I'm just telling you in my opinion. See here. Defense. Edge rushers. I've got DeMarcus Lawrence, Dallas, and Hassan Reddick, Eagles. Interior lineman, Jonathan Allen, Washington, and Hargrave, Philadelphia. Linebacker, Michael Parsons, and Blake Martinez, New York Giants. Corners, Trayvon Diggs, Dallas, Darius Slay, Philly, and Kendall Fuller, Washington. Safeties, Jaron Kearse, Dallas, and Xavier McKinney, New York Giants. That's how I see the best players at their respective positions in the NFC East. So, to me, again, there's a lot of Eagle guys that Howie Roseman has added, and they're starters. By week 8, you'll have Smitty in there, okay? He's a climber. Lane Johnson should be in the top 5. He's a really fine ball player. Leatherwood and stout future Lane replacement. 85, I thought about that a little bit. Bring a guy. I think his injuries, though, man, I just think he has struggled with those injuries with Las Vegas. And every time I watched him play, he got beat on his outside shoulder a lot. And I just didn't really see him. And he struggled with the Raiders, man. He did. He struggled with them. Epps, Gardner Johnson are going to be a fantastic duo in that secondary. Well, when you put them on the other sides of Darius Slay and with Bradbury, you got a lot of experience in that secondary now. You got a ton of secondary experience. Again, this is going to come back down once, listen what we're talking about here. This is going to come down to the coaches. Now, let me address the running back stuff here. Okay, let me address the running back. Do you think you have enough? Do you guys think you have enough to continue to be one of the top running attacks in the National Football League? Do you believe you do? Do you think you have still one of the top running attacks with that group of guys? Can you get by with those guys? Ray says no. GT, no. Fly says no. Jordan says definitely not. So, again, you did it pretty much by committee last year. You did it by committee. And because you're so talented up front, the guys behind him, me personally, I would see who's out there. And if I could bring somebody in to add some depth to the position. I think the Eagles need some depth there. I think you guys can get by with it, but I think you need some depth. 40 Boy Lou, you guys are falling in this dude from the Saints already. Chill, there's a reason he got cut. He wasn't cut, dude. He was traded. He's not cut. And from what I understand, he was traded because of salary cap issues. The Saints are in hell with that. And I've seen the kid play. I know who the guy is. He's a ball player. We had question marks about the guy in San Francisco. We were all like this. I don't know. And I said 2 weeks ago, that guy ain't making the team. I watched him play. I don't think he was going to make – I saw it immediately. I didn't think he was going to make the ball club. I was like, that guy ain't making the team. He ain't making it. G.I. says, I like Gainwell. He's tough. I just don't think you have enough talent at that position to duplicate what you did a year ago. I think the old line is completely capable of doing it. But to me, it's got to come down to production too. And you can't have these musical chairs at running back like the Eagles have had for a second consecutive year. See, what you're trying to do with these roster spots and these positions, you're trying to create stability at them. You're not trying to have musical chairs. Now, look, I get the salary cap each and every single year. It dictates that. And so you've got to constantly have a revolving roster, but not at multiple positions and not at multiple group positions like we're seeing here. Look at what they've had to do. Look at what the Eagles have done in the last 18 months. They completely have revamped their linebackers. They've completely revamped their secondary. They're not so much revamping the defensive line, but they've added. Look at how little they've done on offense, which is great. They've added a star wideout. And what else? Some depth with Zach. What else? Depth with Cam Jurgens. Right? The offensive side of the ball is the most stable side of the ball. Okay? Name goes, Hurts is 50% of the running dynamic. That's the problem with the offense, though, Name. Name, you nailed it. That's the problem with the offense, is that the quarterback is 50% responsible for the running attack. You can't have that. To be a proficient, balanced team, your quarterback can't be the centerpiece runner and the centerpiece thrower. Can't be. Your quarterback's talents can't be running the ball and not throwing the ball. You've got to reverse that. I need Jalen Hurts this year to be a better passer and less of a runner. And that's why that position's important. Gary Cobb said that yesterday, the running back position. If Jalen Hurts wants to improve as a passer, you got to have better running backs, my opinion, or, to be fair, healthier running backs. M. Reyes says it's not a problem, it's a feature. Yeah, well, that shelf life is not a lot, Reyes. You're asking for trouble with your quarterback getting hit if you have that mentality. You're asking for it. He needed surgery at the end of the year. In his first year starting, you think that's getting better or worse? You keep having your quarterback be your focal point at running. That's what they're doing right now in Buffalo. They're trying to get Josh Allen out of that. They don't want him running. Josh Allen's shell life, running the way he does, is nowhere near the shell life of Patrick Mahomes. Nowhere until they rectify that. Until they rectify it. And by the way, this is not a slam on Jalen in any way. It's a philosophical mentality that the Eagles have to help him. You need better backs or more reliable backs, whatever you want to call it. We need another back. Miles will miss games. Absolutely. And then get this. Miles Sanders misses games. Jalen has to run the ball. I don't want that. Sanders, you want to hear something? Sanders actually stops and stunts the growth of the passing game when he's not out there. And the coaches know this. He stunts it because Jalen has to be the focal point of running the ball again. Miles Sanders and the health at the running back position stunts the growth of the passing game. Because you got to have your quarterback take off. That's a fact. Okay, that's a fact. If you had can you imagine if you guys had the 17 backs on this team? Jalen Hurts, you could make the argument, and I would be more apt to go 4,000 passing yards with backs like you had in 17. It's going to be pretty close. Okay? That'd be pretty close. Jalen knows his job is on the line. He's going to run, throw, kick, do whatever he has to do, Sills. We're gonna put that at the top of the hour, and you're gonna see it courtesy of the Eagles, the 53-man roster, your 2022 roster. That's at the top of the hour. We're gonna do that. We'll replay that video. It's pretty dope. The running back by committee is just not going to cut it, in my opinion. All right. Please hit the like button. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Jonathan Gannon on the other side here. Don't forget my friends at Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free. If you guys are hurt or injured on the job, always make sure you understand that Morgan & Morgan is there for you and to make sure that your family has fair compensation when it comes to collecting if you're hurt or injured on the job. That's what they do, and that's what they've been doing for the last 30 years. Nobody is bigger. Nobody is better. With over 800 attorneys and offices in Philly, New York, and in Florida, Morgan & Morgan is going to do battle for you each and every single day. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The call is free. The consultation's free. 800-512-1600. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, tell them Dan Sileo sent you.
After a car crash, the big insurance companies you see advertising on TV, they may try to downplay your case and might say it's only a fender bender or it's just a herniated disc. I worry that some law firms fall for this BS. Not us. We put ourselves in your shoes and ask, what would it be like to be in your pain for the rest of our lives? $1 million wouldn't be enough for me. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.